Hey, what's up, fam? This is your boy JB. You're listening to the Urban Flow on WFDU 89.1. Just want to welcome each and every one of you back with my special guest, Miss Shawnti. Miss Shawnti, the young lady, the young artist who don't want to tell us her age. Yeah, man. We were discussing, the music industry and how you did have, some experience.
Yeah.
With the record labels, back in the day, and how the music industry has changed. You have some individuals who believe that it has changed for the better in some sense of the words. Back in the day, the record companies used to monopolize everything. They owned not only the record label, but the distribution, all that was associated with that. And quite often the artist was the one, although they may have been the creative end of it, they were the ones who ended up getting the short end of the deal. And I have heard of, record labels, and I'm not going to call any names, who have signed artists just for the mere purpose of not allowing other labels to get at those particular artists. So, it's kind of like the industry, in some sense of the word, has really been corrupt, not looking out for the best interests of those individuals who entrusted their skills, their talent to these individuals. So you mentioned that you love to perform.
Yeah.
You love to perform. And where are some of the places you've performed at in the past?
I actually just did a show last week in Bloomfield Harvest Fest.
Okay.
They have it's a yearly event.
Okay.
And they, for the weekend, they block out the streets and they have vendors and food and rides and stuff. So I just performed there last week.
Okay.
We already touched on, I'll be at Expressions Cafe on October 22nd, but on Friday, October 21st, I'll be working with Humanized Black, and I'll be performing at the office for a fundraiser that they're having.
Okay.
So kind of touching on the topics today, the things that we as African Americans are experiencing. So
exactly, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because quite often I ask artists the question, in light of the situations that are happening in the society today, it's quite surprising that we're having to deal with certain issues. Even when you look at the elections, you recognize that racism is still alive and well, and that's very disheartening, because you would think that in the year 2016, we would have gone far past that. And it's also interesting that although, knowledge is increasing and technology is increasing and those kind of things, but human nature seems to be lagging behind, And so, as far as, being an artist is concerned, what do you feel as though artists have a certain level of responsibility in terms of telling the truth? Because, I remember back in the day, like in the 60s, and the 70s, the songs of that particular era, they really spoke to the conditions of society, as it were. Okay. And, those songs actually, they were so powerful that they really changed the mindset of a lot of individuals. It caused them to start to think and to reflect and to ponder, about the situations, that they were living in. And during the Civil Rights Movement, these songs were synonymous with that particular movement. So you look at our society today, what do you think, the responsibility, if any, does the artist have, as far as that's concerned?
I think that first, back then it was different in the sense that there was, smack dab in the middle of the Civil Rights Movement. So there was a responsibility, but I think that people glorified that at that time because it spoke to what they were feeling. Yeah. Not to say that it's not what we're feeling now, but things have changed so much that now as artists, I do think that we have a responsibility. We have to be real to who we are and what we're dealing with as African Americans, but we also have to be careful because you see how easy it is to be vilified. You know what I mean? You could say the right thing and people will have a problem with it anyway. So it's kind of a catch-22 nowadays.
Yeah, I think that it takes a lot of courage, man. And courage, in order to stand up for right, even though the current is going otherwise. And that's what I admired so much about Muhammad Ali. He was a prize fighter. He was a champion of the world, but he was not afraid to speak truth, regardless as to what anybody said or regardless as to what anybody thinks. It's amazing, that in the society that we're living in, it seems like truth is looked upon as being wrong, and wrong is looked upon as being right. In other words, it seems as though there are no more moral values.
Yeah.
It's kind of like right is what a person's perception of right is. So I'm kind of wondering, when I think back in the Bible, right, and you consider the story of Esther. Okay. You consider her story in, how she was an orphan and how she ended up becoming the queen of that particular kingdom. And, her people were at a point of being persecuted. So her uncle said, yo, you got to step up. You got to do something because we're about to be annihilated here. And maybe the reason why you're where you are is because of such a time as this. So my question is, in light of what's happening in society today, could it be possible that the Lord allowed us to be in these positions for such a time as this?
I think yes, but again, it's like, I'm going to use Beyonce as an example.
Okay.
When she puts out something that is touching on what we're dealing with, you see how many people got a problem with her wearing a jacket or with them wearing the afros. You know what I mean? And then when she doesn't say something, there's a problem that she didn't say something. So are you standing up for your people? You know what I mean? It's a catch-22. It all depends. Nowadays, everything is... Racism isn't... It's never gone anywhere. It's that it's publicized more. Everything is where everybody can see it and hear it. There's sound bites, there's videos, everything's everywhere now. Even, I had this conversation with somebody else, even like 16 and pregnant. I physically hate those kind of shows. You know what I mean? It's not to say that it didn't happen back then, but because everybody is focusing on it, it's almost like it's glorified now.
Yeah.
So because everything is so publicized now, it kind of puts us in the position of feeling like we have to do it that we have to stand up for our people. And I think we should, but we also have to be careful because...
Yeah, I tell you, Shanti, I think that each individual has a choice to make. And it's kind of like, if we're not like willing to, stand up, when I say we, I'm talking general terms now. It's like, what about the future? It's kind of like, we were speaking when we were off the air, how there's certain artists who are dressing like women. How, certain individuals or certain genders are being portrayed as being feminine.
Have you seen some of the feminine that look pretty masculine?
Okay, so it's kind of like it's a very confusing time.
It is,
especially for kids who are growing up in this society, and they don't know. I mean, they're just taking cues from what they see on television, what they hear on the radio, so on and so forth. So I really do believe that that regardless as to what the consequences would be, I think that artists in general, across the board, whether they are R&B artists, whether they're gospel artists, whether they're jazz artists or whatever, I just feel that we have a responsibility in speaking to what's going on in society and being courageous enough to say, listen, man, wrong is wrong. You know what I mean? Whether, one chooses to agree with it or not, I feel for myself that it's a responsibility that I have, because if we don't stand up, then the question is, who will? Now, in terms of your gigging, man, are you the one responsible for setting up your gigs, or do you have
Yes,
like
I
a
am.
manager who's doing that for you?
No. I told you I like being in control. No, for the most part, people tend to typically come to me. If not, then people have known or worked with my band. They have a pretty decent following too. Straight Nasty.
Okay.
Straight Nasty Music.
Okay.
At Facebook.
Okay. Okay. So, which artist would you say you would be most similar to?
Currently, I
Yeah.
would say I liken myself a little bit to Janae Aiko. I think that she is, in some senses, kind of like a modern day Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
She had great songs, but it was the lyrics.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I would say somewhere between the two of those.
Okay, so now you have music posted on Facebook
I
or YouTube, I mean.
Yeah, well, the stuff that I have right now is live. I actually had to restart all my stuff because somebody broke into my accounts.
Wow.
So yeah, so I'm people like the stuff that I've done. I had to reach out to people to like kind of put all my stuff back together. I do have a few things on my website. There are some things on YouTube. Again, Shawnee Walker Music.
Okay.
Or my Facebook, my music page on Facebook as well.
So you wanna kind of give us a couple of bars right quick?
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Let me shut this down. Okay, everybody, this is Miss Shanti Walker, yo. She's gonna be at the Expressions Cafe on next Saturday night, October 22nd. And what you got?
All right. I got music in my ear. Hold on. Let's take this off. All right. Broken hearts are made for two, one for me and one for you. Tell me, have you heard the news? We are now in love. So I guess that I should mention that I am in no condition to put you in this position. I might F this up.
Oh, I like that. You know, you want to keep going?
But whatever the case, you're my favorite mistake. More than happy to make you.
Wow.
Hold up, I'm not done.
Oh, okay.
If you decide to stay, no, there is no escape. There's no one here to save you.
Yo, I like that. I like that.
Thank you.
That's great.
That
man.
was Janae Aiko.
That's great. I like that style of music. I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, so do I.
I like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so wow. Okay, so the music that you write is it along
Yes.
those lines as well?
Yeah. Yeah, I tapped into some of my angry feelings and wrote some stuff. Got my angry album going. I'm
Well, I
kidding.
think it's great, because I think Shanti, I believe that there's a shortage of good music.
I agree.
You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I really because if you wonder, it's like I have students, right, and it's amazing how familiar they are with the old stuff.
Yeah. My kids too.
Yeah, because there's such an appreciation for the musicianship. Those guys were real musicians. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They didn't go buy a box of Fruity Loops and got a baseball cap and turned it backwards and started pulling samples together and say, "Yo, this is my song." No, these guys
No,
were
this is those people's songs.
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. And they were like actual creative enough to pull these music together. But I think that your voice is fantastic.
Thank you.
I
Thank
really
you.
do, and I'm very discriminating. When it comes to stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
Very
Okay.
discriminating.
Well, then
Yeah.
I feel very honored.
No, I'm serious. Very discriminating, and I look forward to hearing you on next Saturday night.
All right, you're
Yeah,
gonna be there,
yeah,
right?
I'll be there.
Okay.
Because I love good music. I like that kind of music. It kind of reminds me of Ella Fitzgerald and
Okay.
for
that
me
jazzy.
exactly
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
It reminds me of that, and I love that kind of music. I really do. Well, Shanti, listen, thank you so much for being willing to come by.
Thank you for having
I
me.
could have you here all day. But
I would definitely sit here too with some food.
yeah, that would. Well, you know what? Listen, we're not gonna make this the last time. So what we'll do is we will schedule a time in the future,
Okay.
and then we'll make sure that we have a nice little caveat
Okay.
Set out.
Meats and cheeses, please.
That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. We could do that. We could certainly do that. But it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Okay. All right, everyone. Once again, Shawnti Walker. And Shawnti, just give the audience again how you can be reached.
Okay. You can reach me at ShawnieWalker.com, ShawnieWalker.com.
Okay.
You can also reach me at Facebook/Shawnee Walker Music. And I will be at Expressions Cafe October 22nd.
Right.
But as I said before, I will be performing at the Humanized Black fundraiser in Montclair at the office on Friday, October 21st.
Is that a full band or is that?
That's going to be my band, but we're not doing the full drums. He's going to have a djembe. So,
Okay,
yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Will your band be performing with you
Yeah.
on next Saturday night? Mm-hmm. Okay, look forward to hearing you. I know Hiram usually has.
Wait, no. At Expressions,
cafe.
no, that's going to be their band.
Okay.
That's going to be their house band. My band's going to be with me on the 21st.
Okay, yeah, they have a tight band over there.
Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah,
I've heard.
they do. They do. They do. All right, so
Okay.
Shawnee, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.